Tak. Boleh tak?
Hafiz Imran is sharing device with me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
One.
Alright. So, who's the name? Okay. MEDCY. Who's called MEDCY? Who's using the device named MEDCY?
Okay, kita tengok balik. We go through again. Ah.
Alah, okay, we have the our judge already arrived. Our judge is here. So the government is ENGENIUS. Naim is the first speaker. Zuhail will be the second. Afif Imran will be the third. Am I right? Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the opposition team is Zarif, Aiman, and Haziq. First, second, third. Okay, I think that's all. Okay, now. Okay, now may I start? Okay. Now I think you guys will get like an extra 10 minutes before we start. So do be prepared. Oh, okay, guys. New info. Debate starts at 8:50. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Guys, may I have your attention? Okay, now I will try play the audio. Try play an audio for the timer audio, and I want you guys to hear. Can you hear the bell? Can you hear the bell starting?
No.
No.
Bell ni kat mana? Bell. Okay, can you hear the bell? Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
No.
Oh, you can see the screen as well. Wait. Yeah, how about I share the screen? Start now. Wait, oh my god. Okay, now can you guys see the screen? Can you guys see the
Boleh.
screen? Wait, let me try. Dia naik ke berapa tadi?
Lepas tu hang share screen.
Hmm.
Jangan lupa tekan kalau phone hang ada button, tekan So, everything okay. Need to solve your problem fast. Because you are live.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm live. Wait. Don't make me lie. Don't make me lie. But how about the others? Test guys, can you hear me?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good night again to all. With the
Hello?
blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala.
Can you guys hear me?
Boleh.
Boleh.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers
Can you hear the background? Is the background disturbing you guys?
for joining us today, and I will
Yes.
It's very loud. Okay, now give me 3 minutes.
Tak lazy, kita bagi 2 je.
Okay, now can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Alright.
Oh no, no, it's choppy.
Yeah, choppy. Is it okay? Okay, now it's clear.
Yeah.
Alright. I'll try. Now everybody's here, right? Yeah, we have the judge. So inshallah, let's begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good night and a very good evening I bid to all. With a blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, we are gladly able to gather here today for this cup. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I thank all of you for joining us today, and I welcome each and every one of you warmly. My name is Muhammad Hazib bin Noh, and I am your chairperson and timekeeper for today's debate. I would also like to introduce our very esteemed judge, Judge Talha, to all of you. Now, before we begin, I will briefly explain the rules. Speeches should be 7 minutes in duration. Speakers exceeding this may be penalized but should never be substantially less than this. A bell will be rung after every consecutive minute. After 6 minutes, the bell will be rung twice. After 7 minutes, the bell will be rung until the speaker stops delivering their speech. POIs can only be offered after the expiration of 1 minute and may not be given after the expiration of 6 minutes. POIs may only be given to opposing teams and should be generally not more than 15 seconds in duration. If the speaker exceeds the 15 seconds, the chairperson may request the speaker to end the POI. The duration of the reply speech will be 4 minutes. Speakers must use formal language. Inappropriate language is prohibited. Debate session will always start with the government's first speaker, which is the Prime Minister. It is then followed by the opposition leader, then Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Opposition Leader, then government sweep, and ends with the opposition sweep. For reply speeches, both government and opposition sides are given 4 minutes of preparation for reply speeches. Now, with the rules explained, we will now start with our first debate of the day. With our second debate continued, and close this hit with our final debate. The motion before the House this day is, this House, as an educational institution, would choose what course the students go into. I repeat, this House, as an educational institution, would choose what course the students go into. Now, the government team is ENGENIUS. The government team in this debate is Naim as the first speaker government, Zuhail as the second speaker, and Afif Imran as the third speaker. The opposition team is MEDCY, and the opposition team in this debate are the Zarif as the first speaker, Ayman as the second speaker, and Haziq as the third speaker. Okay, wait a second. Laptop ni. Mana?
Yang tadi
Ah.
tu.
Okay dah.
Tu dah. Sini okey dah.
Macam nak start.
Pergi balik kat sini.
Dia tak nak pergi.
Tak. Tekan double click kali double click. Tak boleh. Dua share screen. Tak, terus aku kena pergi balik dekat tempat yang kau share tu. Mana? Yang tu. Kan? Yang dia punya timer yang kau share tu, benda yang kau share. Kat sini kau kena tekan. Lepas tu kau kena keluar balik daripada sini macam tadi.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, please join me in welcoming our first speaker from the government, Naim, to the floor to open the debate. Naim, you may start.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay. So this house support that it is a good idea if school get to decide what subject students study. It is all about making sure that students are set up for jobs and helping the country grow in the future. So what can we define education is? Education institute is that education institute will decide on which course student will go to based on the exam result. In a sense, student won't get to choose which courses they are going to in education system, institute, for instance, university or school, and so on. But in this debate, it will prove that it is better in the long run for school to help students choose their courses. So the stakeholder in this debate is students, parents, education institution, society. The main stakeholder is student. It will show the positive effects in the long run if the course is chosen by the school. So that we know that most schools allow students to choose their own courses. It's still allowed until today. So students can choose their courses, but they have to take questionnaire to see where they are heading in the future. So the school will take it as a reference as well as their performance in school. The questionnaire will not be biased to the courses. From that, school can evaluate which courses is suited for them the best. So why we think this is true? It is true because most students is not exposed to the working life ahead of them. So when that happens, they will most likely choose a course that may not help them in the future. This is important actually because we don't want to waste a talent in a certain field, like for instance, engineering. We all know engineering requires a lot of people in the field for it to work well. But people are not going in that direction, as we know, even though they have the talent because they've been misguided interest in early stage in their life. So there will be a waste of talent and one less engineer in the country in a field. So when there is one less engineer in the society or in the country, there will be one less person in a field that's person in the country. So the society will decline. A lot of, for instance, a lot of European countries don't have enough doctor, and that is a problem in a society where if there is no doctor, mean there will be no one to help in the critical part like surgery and so on. So this is also true because in a world where there is a worker in a field that is critical to build a well-working society, it needs a lot of worker for it to work. Let's say there is no worker in that field. How a society is going to be built? For instance, like engineer. If there is no engineer in society, there will be no one to build, like let's say buildings, roads, and so on. So the summary is that if there is no worker in a society or students have been misguided in the early stage of life where they go into a course that they don't like, it will lead them to work in a field that they don't like in the future. They will regret going to that course in the future. But it will also affect the society because, as I said, for society to be work well, you need a worker. As I said, a worker, a lot of worker actually. So yeah, when there is student being misguided into certain courses that they don't like, it will just in the end be a waste of talent. Talent.
A lot of holes actually.
POI?
That's it.
So how would you know that the university or the educational institution wouldn't choose a course for the student that he doesn't like? That would cause the same problems that you all just mentioned just now.
Mistake in mechanism actually. So as I said, the student can't choose the course, but they have to take the questionnaire to see where they are heading in the future. So the question you asked me is that, can I ask them to repeat the question? Okay, so the future. So the school or the university will take it as reference as their performance in school, as performance in school and the university. The questionnaire will not be biased to the courses, as I said. From that, the uni or school can evaluate them on which courses is suited for them the best. So it will reduce the problem. No. So this will make our case solid and we can rest our case.
Now, is that all? So,
Yes, from me, yes.
thank you very much, Brother Naim. Now, please welcome the opposition leader, Brother Zarif, to open the case from their side. Okay, you may start now.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening for everybody, for the people on YouTube, judges, and my colleague and the opposition. The first thing I want to say, we agree with the definition there, but the argument just from the opposition is so very hilarious, like very, very hilarious. Because why? Because the mechanism itself of, you say just now, questionnaire only, use that. Maybe can change their mind, the student can change tomorrow, maybe. Like if we eating a food like sugary substance, if you know, like cake or what, somebody their mind will change. You know, their adrenaline can change their how they think for tomorrow or what. So another thing that I want to point out their argument is that the students should choose for their course because the student already grow up. And what time we need to them for choose? You know, they already grow up. They're already a man at that time. Of course, if we deepen the scope to the high school, because at that time, in the moment at that time, willing to their during the high school moment, what's the moment at what time we can choose the course for? Yeah. No, thank you. Sorry. So I want to enter for my argument for the day. The university should not choose the student, of course, because university, if they choose, they will choose only by their interest only. So if they choose the student, they will choose the student. Maybe of course, there will a student that interest in the university choice. But of course, there will be a student that lack interest. We need to use all the resources that university provide so that the student all student will get interest. So to get to the main point back, the student who lack interest will get lack of motivation, lack of concentration. this will affect their academic result. And of course, it will affect their degree and their work in future. No, thank you. Yeah, of course, it will affect their work and have a weak motivation during their work time when they grow up and have an emotional damage, of course. So if we compare to people who have a great motivation during their work and not have a great motivation, of course, the great motivation do have a great what I call it energized and better performance in their job scope. So in the end, the government money that's spent on the university will be very not good. So that's my point for which student lack of interest. That's only my point. So that's why I believe that we are the winner for this debate. Thank you.
May I ask, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, now thank you, Brother Zarif, for the speech. And now I will call upon the second speaker of the government. Thank you, Brother Zuhail. Now I will call the second speaker from the government, Brother Zuhail, to continue the debate from our side, from their side. You may start now.
Okay, so I'm going to say about your point just now that the students can change their mind and because they are grown up. Well, you refer that to the university students, but it actually doesn't change the student talents. So it doesn't really choose the key of interest for the students. And some students are talentful but doesn't have the interest. And this may cause of them lack of motivation and make them have a worse performance in their studies rather than a loss in the whole. But you would rather them lose in a field that they choose. So my first argument is schools have students record on subjects they score well to know about their interests. That's why we support the educational institution would choose what course the students go into. So if a student score in a subject, it's basically show that they have interest in the subject. Educational institutions like school have the records from the examinations they attended by the students. It is important because by going to the course based on their interest and without force from others like educational institutions, it can secure and ensure the alignment between students' aptitudes and career prospects. It will be a dream come true to have a job in the student's favorite field that pays really well. Passion often plays a crucial role in effective learning and long-term retention. Pursuing an uninteresting course may hinder overall personal and professional development of the student, as it might not align with one's strengths and aspirations. So, students will be motivated and excited in studies, which is essential to their academic success and help them for their better future to find their passion job. And in the long run, studying something that interests the students, they can go further because they can get a job in the area that will be more enjoyable for them rather than be something that they study just to get a job that they dislike. And then if they're studying a course without genuine interest, it can lead them to decrease the study motivation, lower academic performance, and lack of fulfillment. This may also result in difficulties retaining information. And we can deny some students doesn't even score the basic subject like language, history, and religion subject. But the other subject based on the course studies will be really helpful for students for their development. And my second argument is the adaptation to changing needs for students with the future. It is true for schools because the schools know the potential of the students. Now, this job market is dynamic and skills requirement can be changed rapidly. By choosing course for students, institutions can adapt more swiftly to this change, preparing graduates for the evolving demands of the professional landscape.
Yeah.
Schools, no, Schools can push students to their optimal potential so they can fit in the society. Some students, especially pre-SPM students, just like you mentioned, the university students, so I'm touching about the pre-SPM students, they don't mature enough to choose the course by themselves. Mostly students tend to choose easier subject to score. For the examination, as formulation students, it is SPM. And without knowing the variety of the course that they can choose on the next long run studying. Examples, students choosing economics and business course because if compared to the other course like science stream and accountancy, this course is much easier for them. But I don't want to be biased to any course because every course has pros and cons. But however, this can impact if they want to continue their studies. The course study that available will be far from the course that are mostly required in the job market. Rapid advancement in technology impact various industries. Course need to reflect these change to provide students with the knowledge and institutions that emphasize continuous learning and professional development to prepare students for a reality where ongoing education is essential for the career progression and personal growth. That's all for me.
Now, thank you very much, Brother Zohail. Now, let's welcome the second speaker from the opposition, Brother Aiman, to continue the case from their side. You may start now.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me? Okay. So, Assalamualaikum. Aiman. So I'm the second speaker for MEDCY, and I'll be starting this debate, my part, by rebutting the mechanism. First, I want to ask about the mechanism, which is the questionnaire, which were mentioned by team engineers. So the questionnaire was a mechanism that I suppose you ask questions and then let the students answer, and then the school education system will determine which one is the best option for you. My question is, let me give out an example first. You've all been through a psychometric paper, the questions, right? Every one of us has been through that psychometric. Have you ever seen that paper or any one of those things come into any sort of result? Have they ever come to fruition? Anything? No, they haven't used it at all. You haven't seen it. You just answer it and then you give the results to the governments. Nothing else comes out of it. You don't get any feedback from it. So how does it help you? So I want to say that that mechanism itself is flawed. It doesn't really work for me. And yeah. Second of all, the second speaker of Team Engineers said that schools know the potential of the students. My question is, don't the students know their own potential? They know themselves the most, the best, of course. They the ones that decide what they know about themselves because it's their potential. The school just judged it based on the mechanism, which, as I've stated before, is already flawed. So that doesn't really help the case. So I don't think the school knows the potential of the students as much as the student themselves. Yeah. Um, and that's where I come to support my friend Zarif, which he once said that you can be good, you can the lack of interest, which is his first point. He said lack of interest because you're not interested in the course chosen by the education system. I support that because you can be good at something and not be passionate at it. And let me give out an example again. You guys watch SpongeBob. You know Squidward. He plays the clarinet as a hobby, but he works as a cashier in the restaurant Krusty Krab as his daily job. He might be better. He is better being a cashier at than blowing the clarinet. Based on the cartoon, he sucks at it. He's not good at it. He's not good at it. But what makes him happy? Is it would if you ask anyone like if you ask your friends or even Squidward if you can somehow, uh which one would he be rather be doing for the rest of his life? Is it being good at being a cashier or just play the clarinet? He would be playing clarinet at his home. Um one more that I want to say is, you guys emphasized on guaranteeing a job, a job, a job, a job. My question is, what if the competition for getting a job is too good that you won't even get a job? At that point, you're not loving what you do, and then you're not good enough to get a job, which may lead to emotional stress for the students. I've done what I can. I've used up my talent. I pushed myself to the limits, which is I pressed myself on things that I don't like, and then I don't even get a job. How does that help the students? If they choose things that they don't like let's say they like dancing but they're not good at it, at least they have to say like I've given it a try. I'm still gonna dance. Okay. Let me continue by stating my own points. My point is that by letting the students choose their own course, it'll be easier for the university education system itself, because by giving out the questionnaires, you need to wait for the students' responses. You need to wait for them. You need to distribute it. You need to wait for the responses, and then you need to judge the responses. As I've stated, the questionnaire, the mechanism does not work. So it doesn't really help, and it's very consuming. You might take your time off of holiday if you're an educator, like a lecturer or a teacher. Take your time off a holiday just to evaluate all the choices from the psychometric, and the system doesn't work. So it doesn't benefit anyone, the uni or the student itself. Wha- my other point is that students must have a freedom of choice. Um, this is because as we've grown up, well, even when you're kids, you have a freedom to choose whatever you want, regardless of what other people says, as long as it's not wrong. You know, I believe that with freedom of choices, it helps. Freedom of choices gives us a freedom instead of being locked out in a course. Because of in school, especially
POI?
nah, thank you. No, thank you. Um, the freedom of choice, my point, might be connected to the first speaker's point, which is we're grown enough. We know what we want. We're man enough. We should take accountability and we should take responsibility of what course we want and what course we're interested in, so that we can be our own man. We can be our own person. We need to stand up for ourselves instead of letting other people make decisions for ourselves. And with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Bye.
Now, thank you very much, Brother Aiman. Now, let's welcome the third speaker of the government, Brother Afif Imran, to the floor. We can start when you're ready.
So, gentlemen, so I would like to start my speech here a bit later. Let me just get everything together first. Give me this. Just let me get everything in order, please. All right. So I'll be starting my speech in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you please just set the timer, please? Please, just to set the timer first. All right. So I'll be starting my speech in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the side opposition for providing me points to rebut. So let's go on to rebuttals first, shall we? So when you say that psychometric is practically useless, then why schools do it? They must do it because there's a reason. They don't just keep the results and just throw it away. That's not the point of having a psychometric exam. The point of psychometric exam is to evaluate where students can actually go, to evaluate their other potentials as well. So basically when second speaker completely denied the use of psychometric, well, that's a giant false right there. Sorry to say. So basically, he also stated that those students know their full potential. Yes, they know their full potential. Some may not realize, some may realize, but students, we like to characterize them as young. And when they are young and they do not have that much experience in the working world, how many students have you seen have worked in the working world? Basically, not many, right? So when they don't have that experience in the working world, basically they don't know what would be good and what would be bad in the working world. So basically they cater to where they want to go based on their existing knowledge, and their existing knowledge can be misleading. That's why we on the side of opposition believe that it's better that schools who are basically run by grown-ups dictate where they should go, because the school themselves know where they are going, so know what they can do, so they can push them to where they are meant to go. And unlike students who basically, some might go to this course because they say it's easy, some might go to this course because they don't like mathematics, even though they can do math, but just because they don't like math, they decide to just throw it out everything. Even though they're the best, they might be one of the country's best mathematicians, but just because they don't like math, they just throw that skill out. So that's basically a loss in other fields. So when you say about, so basically when you say about Squidward, about SpongeBob, so Squidward working as a clarinetist. So what if Squidward works as a clarinetist? Have you seen the show? Have you seen how bad Squidward plays the clarinet? He's not even that good. So basically, if he pursues as a clarinetist, it won't be even good, and it will be even more detrimental than beneficial to him. And on job competition, when you say it's too high, gentlemen, please, schools, they dictate where we go based on also job availability. And when we dictate on job availability, basically they won't throw us into a course where there are not many people taking, or where there they won't throw us in a course where there are too many people taking. Basically, like medicine in Malaysia, for instance. Medicine in Malaysia, sorry to say that there are far too many doctors, but not too many specialists. So if you're trying to push far too many people into the direction of doctors, then sorry to say, there will be a lot of jobless medicine graduates. And that's what we see these. No, thank you. I would like to keep on going. So going on to question that's already about it. Freedom of choice. So you said that they'll be more motivated in the job. Sure, they might have more motivation in the job into the course that they choose. But say, all right, I used to be an Arab. I used to actually want to do religious studies, but because my Arabic was bad, even though I have the passion, but I don't have the Arabic capability, so I cannot pursue in that course. So basically, when we already dictate that schools dictate where the students are going, so basically the schools already know your potential based on your grade. So when they know based on your grade, they can actually push you to a course that you can go. So unlike me, who cannot do Arabic but wants to go to a religious course, then that'll be detrimental to me in the future because I'll have to struggle more in Arabic to actually learn religion. All right, thank you, please.
What if the school makes a wrong decision?
Please.
Are we going to hold the school accountable for choosing a wrong decision in the student's life?
Basically, are you willing to choose the student choice or the school's choice? The school's choice, we have a better mechanism if the schools were to choose. But if the students were to choose, then basically it will be based on their own interest, as I said earlier. And their interest may be misguided, and it will be cause more harm than good. So basically we're going to have more waste of talents if the students were to choose. So it's better to have the schools choose them, as that's what we're proving in this debate. So on our clashes, basically, first of all, we're peace, obviously, because we are on our side, we are trying to cater towards what students are able to do. Whereas on your side, you're just push your interest on their motivation. Sure, motivation is important. We don't deny that. But even if they're motivated, but they cannot do the job, then what's the point of them trying to push into that course? See what I'm going in this? Whereas sure, they may be less motivated in some cases, but at least they can still do it. I'm an engineering student and I hate math. So I can still do math. So does that affect me? No. I can still do math and technically I can still do the job. So it's better to do that than have an engineer have a person who's passionate in engineering but cannot do math. That would be even worse to have, because that would basically result in students dropping out because they cannot pursue further in their courses because they lack the mental capability to understand the course. So basically, that's the first on your piece on interest and disinterest. So basically, we are trying to push for students to have a better life in the future, whereas you guys are just trying to push for the interest. We on our government have proven that interest alone is not the only determining factor on where you're going to go, but rather the more important factor is whether or not the students can actually do that thing, and compared to interest alone. So you may say that interest is important, and some students may drop out, but that rate is declining because basically they can actually do it. So when they can do it, they can do it. When they can do it, they can go through. That I would like to ask my I would not like to ask my case, but yeah, basically the question we have proven our machinations and arguments have come to fruition. We would like to rest our case. Thank you very much. Go side government.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you very much, Brother Imran from the government whip. Now, last but definitely not least, I welcome the third speaker from the opposition side, Haziq from MEDCY, to the floor.
Assalamu alaikum. Let me just check first. Can you all hear my voice loud and clear before we start?
Yes.
All good? All right. If you don't. All right, I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Assalamu alaikum. Let's just get right into the speech. This house as an educational institution would choose what course the student goes into. So the government team decided to choose schools. Sure. All right. First of all, I'd like to start with some rebuttals. Let's point out a misunderstanding that the government team made about us. They think we are only thinking about the interest of the students alone. No. This is the difference here. The government team thinks that the school should have the choice of the final say of where the student goes. And we, as the opposition, firmly believe that it is the student's choice to choose where he goes and what course he chooses, which will determine the path he takes later on in life. Why? Because as my second speaker said, the students are old enough or should be old enough to learn and be independent and make decisions on their own. If you keep getting spoon-fed your whole life, when are you going to grow up? All right, so I'd like to clarify again that our point is that the choice of which course should be taken should be on the student and not the university or the school in the definition of the government. It's not that we focus solely on interests. No. You can look at interest, you can look at talent, but the final choice of where you go should lay on the student. Why? All right, let's go into the mechanism of the government, which my second speaker has said is completely useless. Why? Because the mechanism of the government is a psychometric test. Number one, we already have that. It really comes to no fruition through like what we have experienced in real life. So he said, oh, based on the psychometric test, we can determine which course, where the student is talented. What if people are multi-talented? What does the school do then? Now, okay, maybe you have to do an interview. Now, that's more work for the teachers who are already overworked. If you're saying the job scope is, if you're saying that teachers are the ones in schools need to find out which course to send their students to, right? Don't you think that's a lot of work? So when they take a questionnaire, it's not specifically, oh, this questionnaire says he's going to be a great doctor. No, there are multiple different things. There could be a great doctor who can also be a good musician. The questionnaire idea, just the questionnaire mechanism given by the government team, is completely useless. And another thing, the government team has so much faith in this one questionnaire. This one paper will determine the course of the student's life because it chooses what course they take. What if someone is good at biology, answers the questionnaire, turns out he's good at biology, but ends up he actually likes engineering? Talking about myself. And then he ends up facing his whole life, 6 years, 6, 7 years in medicine, although he doesn't like it. That is what my first speaker tried to say. So now when a case like this happens, who do we blame? Now you have the chance to blame the university or blame the educational institution, the school. Why, based on your questionnaire, did you put us here? So what, is there going to be a lawsuit against the school? Now the school needs money and whatnot. You see, there are many problems with this very shaky mechanism of just answer this paper. It'll tell us everything about your future. It's not a soothsayer. So one paper determining the life of the rest of the students' course is very absurd to me. That is why we as the opposition team believe that ultimately the decision should be on the students. So if anything goes wrong down the line, the only person they can blame is themselves. Because it is their choice. It is time they grow up and make their own choices in life. Because if not now, then when else? Another thing, the government seems to forget that, they say that, where is it? They said that, the schools and institutions have a better idea of the world outside and what job scopes and can help people get better jobs. How do you know? How do you know the school is going to do their due diligence and search for the best course for each student? How can you trust the school? At the end of the day, they are going to get rid of their students, right? Okay, if you're saying the school is the one that's doing all this research, number one, there's way a lot more work for all the teachers and whatnot. And number two, how can you guarantee that they will choose the right thing? You said the questionnaire. I have proven that the questionnaire, although may give some insight, is not a great thing to put the whole of the student's life on.
POI,
Sure.
are you completely your points? That we basically stated that are you saying that the students know more than the school on outcomes of the future, or basically on the working world?
Thank you for your POI. This is exactly what I was about to get into. You said, the school knows more than the students, so they can guide you. Yes, they can guide you. But the last final choice of which course you go to should not be given to the school. The ultimate, sorry, Chairman, do you need to reset the timer? Or can I keep talking? Okay, I'll keep talking. All right. The ultimate choice should be on the student because they are growing up and it is time that they make their own decisions in life. Yes, the schools have resources. The schools have contacts. They can tell which job you can go to. That's why there are career fairs and whatnot after you finish SPM, for example. But the ultimate choice, this is the point of the debate. The ultimate choice should be on the student on what he wants to choose, he or she wants to choose, not the school. Why? Because if the school chooses wrong, now we can blame the school for the rest of the life of the student if it turns out to be something that he didn't like. The schools can guide the students, can tell them which jobs suit them best, can tell them what their talents are, can tell them which job they might succeed best in. Oh, you're very good at math. You should be an engineer. The student has the right to say no. I want to do music. That is my choice. That is what my second speaker said. It is their freedom of choice. Ultimately, the student is the one that should choose his career path in life. If not, I should just listen to my parents and become a doctor, right? Well, that is what I'm doing. But all right. So they mentioned. So I think that is the main point of the debate. Who is supposed to be having the power to choose where they go to, the students or the school? And as team opposition, we strongly believe that the choice should lie on the students to determine their future. Why? Because ultimately the school is free from blame and the school does not need to create a bunch of mechanisms and logistics. The teachers have to do interviews, the teachers have to find things for the students, the teachers have to make a questionnaire. So it's easier for the teachers. The students get to choose what they want instead of having a piece of paper questionnaire determine the flow of the rest of their life. And that will allow the student to choose the course that is best for them because it is their choice. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is your life. And if you keep getting spoon-fed ideas by other people, that is not you living your life. You can get advice, you can get understanding, you can get information. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the final choice must be made by you. And that is why we as team opposition strongly believe that educational institutions should not choose what course the student goes into, but rather they can advise them. And ultimately, the choice lies on the student's behalf. With that, I'd like to rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Haziq from MEDCY. Now, it is time for the preparation of reply speeches. The time given for each team will be 4 minutes. Wait a second. Okay. The time given for each team will be 4 minutes. Debaters, please use the 4 minutes to prepare your reply speeches. You may prepare now. Before I forget, may I ask who's the opposition summary speaker will be?
There'll be Aiman, the very handsome Aiman.
The very handsome Simon. And who is from the government? And from
Naim.
who will be your summary speaker?
Speaker one.
Speaker one, Naim. Very much.
Yes.
Thank
You.
Now, debaters, your time's up. It is now time for the preparation. It is now time for the reply speeches. Starting first with the opposition, please welcome the opposition summary speaker, Brother Aiman, the most handsome Brother Aiman from MEDCY, to deliver his speech.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me? Okay, so I will start in 3, 2, 1. So right now, my job is to summarize our points and why I think we should win the case. For me, we talked about the education system being a mechanism that does not work, which is the questionnaire, which is just part of the procedure for the education system, which does not help because it is not a good indication for what course you need to take, what course you're good at. It's just an indication that, oh, maybe you're good at something, maybe you're good at drawing. It's not indication of, oh, you're good at drawing, you should take AD. Drawing does not equal that. It's just an indication that you're good at something. So it's not a good indication. And plus, even if they improve the questionnaire, it will be so burdensome for the teachers because they would need to make a new mechanism. They would need to ask more questions to make it more precise, which it's already enough work for the teachers given the questionnaire. It's already so burdensome. Improving it will just give them more work, which doesn't help. My second point is that the education system is going to get rid of the students anyway, regardless of what they want, regardless of what they like. If you're good at this, you're good at this. Once we finish teaching you, once the 5 years of high school, once the 6 years of degree finish, we're going to get rid of you. You do your own life. How about what's the consequences of that? If you just let the education system determine what your life path is going to be, you're going to get rid of you anyway. They're going to get rid of you. You're just going to choose what you're good at, and that doesn't help the students anyway because they want to keep their own image. They want to give a good reputation for themselves. And yeah, the other point is that we do agree. While we do agree that school does have the information that students are good at something, the one point that we clashed on against the government is that, well, yeah, school have a lot of resources because they taught the kid from year one, year two. You can give that as your point. But my point is that yes, school does have that information, but they should not be the one making all the choices. The ball should be in the student's court. The ball should be in the court. They're the one to control. You take the shot or you don't. You pump fake it, pass it. It's your choice. To make the move, you make the move because at the end of the day, whose life is it? It's not the school's life. They won't take responsibility. Yeah, you're good at this, but you didn't do work hard enough for this and now you're jobless. It's not the school's responsibility, it's the student's responsibility. It's his fault, it's his accountability, so why shouldn't he make the choice? So yeah, while I do believe that education system should have a say in that they can advise the students in what's best for them, at the end of the day, it's the students' choice to pick what they want to do with their own lives. And the school's education system should not restrict the freedom of choice for the students. And as I've said before, we need to be independent. We're grown enough, and we should be able to think of what's best for ourselves because there's no one that knows ourselves better than us. So with that, I do rest my case. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for the summary and welcome the last speaker of the government, the very knowledgeable, the Honorable Brother Naim, to sum up for their team and the debate as a whole.
Assalamualaikum. We will start in 1, 2, 3. So we believe that our points and example are very solid and actually have been proven throughout the history. And you guys also completely ignored our statements on the psychometric. So in conclusion, what my third speaker just said was completely useless. We have proven that it can be beneficial for the student. So we also set up a mechanism where it will give more benefits to the students than harm, where you guys pointed out that the students' future was depending on their passion alone, which could destroy a society. So our points prove why is it better that, than the opposition point for instance, my first point was school will choose the course for students in order to ensure their future, and you clash it with interest. In a sense, side opposition only push the student interest and passion, which our third speaker have been about rebuted, stating that passion without talent is useless. Plus, you guys are pushing a false point, which was the psychometric result. So for you guys only cares about the student interest instead of the best course, instead of the best future. We have been proven over and over again that pushing students to their strong courses is better than just taking their interest in hand. Where you guys also push the student interest that may misguided, to which in the end will lead to a fall of the society. So interest is very important, but without talent it's useless. So that's where your point is from. We have also won the clash. So we have also won the clash because your points are, most of them are false. We agreed on some, but most of them are false. And that we would like to summarize that government, our side, have won the debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Naim. And thank you. Okay, now thank you very much, Brother Naim, and thank you to all the speakers for the great debate. Now let's give them a last round of applause, everyone. Congrats. Okay. Dearest judge, you have a maximum of 10 minutes to give your verbal adjudications. The floor is now yours, dear judge. Okay, sure. We'll give Brother Talha 2 minutes. Congratulations everyone for a wonderful debate. I, as your chairman for today, would like to thank everyone for thank everyone and congrats everyone for doing their best, doing their bestest. And I hope that everything that you guys, every of your efforts will not go to waste. I hope you guys the greatest, inshallah.
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, Brother Talha, we can hear you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. It was a great debate tonight, and I was really surprised with everyone because they can speak well.
So how I would do this is that I would start with the feedback first, and then I would say the side one. Okay. So let's talk general first. Okay, so this motion, this house as an educational institution would choose what course the students go into. Okay, so when I see this motion, I think about two things. The first one is the power to choose who does it fall in onto, the students or the school. And the second one is passion versus talent. Which one weighs more? Does passion weighs more or does talent weighs more? What is passion without talent and what is talent without passion? Which one would you choose? That is initially what I wanted to hear from both sides. You should be debating on these kinds of principles, okay? So let's move on to the Prime Minister first. The Prime Minister. Okay, so the Prime Minister. Okay, so just my feedback isn't just for one person, it is for generally everyone, and you can take notes, everyone else. So when you get a motion, the first thing that you should do is think, why does this motion exist? What is the problem with the current status quo that is so bad that this motion must be debated on? What is so wrong with this world that this is some issue that we have to solve? That is what you should do when you get a motion. You should always ask yourselves, why does this motion exist? Okay, so when you ask this question to yourself, then you can organize your points more clearly so that your flow won't be disturbed. Okay, so, okay, let's do it right now. When you see this motion, this house as an educational institution would choose what courses the students go into. Why do you think this motion exists? Okay, so for me, I think that this motion exists maybe because there is too many people in one field and not on the other field. Maybe there is too many people who want to become a lawyer but not a doctor. So we want to implement this to make sure that it is all equal. So that is why this motion exists. Okay, so by asking these questions, by asking these kinds of questions, you can know, you can have some points, you can gain some ideas on what you want to deliver in your speech. Okay, so the Prime Minister, you talked about the mechanism. However, your mechanism was very vague. I did not get a hold of what you are trying to share with us. Okay, so your mechanism is about a questionnaire. Okay, so my question to you, the questions that me as a judge that I want to know is, how many times do they take these questionnaires? Do they take these questionnaires each year, or is it just on the final year of the studies? And who makes these questionnaires? Is it the university or is it the high school? So these things are some things that I would like to know when you make this mechanism, when this is a policy debate. So when we are debating on a policy motion, you need to come up with a strong mechanism. Okay, a strong mechanism. So your role as a prime minister, you have to focus more on the mechanism if it is a policy debate. Focus more on the mechanism. Because if your mechanism is weak, then the opposition side can attack it more. Okay? Okay. And your organization is really lacking in a sense that you tend to skip from one place to another. Okay, you don't organize your points, so that is something to take note of. Just follow the flow of your points and don't really just skip from one point to another because I am really, really confused when you talk. Is there a question? Yes, so I would continue to the leader of opposition. So the leader of opposition, I can see that you have the same problem as the prime minister, which is your lack of organization. Okay, So this is something that everyone should take note of. It is called signpost. Okay, signpost is basically uh, the title of what you are going to say. Let's say you are the leader of opposition. Okay, so I am the leader of opposition. I would say something like, so let's move on with the rebuttals. For the rebuttals, I would say this. Now, moving on to my next point, which is under the key phrase of this. Okay, when you say the phrase of under the key phrase of, that is your signpost. So when you have your signpost, the judge can easily detect what you are trying to convey in your speech. Okay, so when you talk, I don't have to search, I don't have to think myself over and over again. What is the message that he is trying to tell me exactly? Okay, so signpost is very, very important. And I can see that you are in the beginning of your speech, you gave an analogy about a cake. Okay, as a debater myself, I really like using analogy because it is something that we can use to portray something that we would like to say. We can reduce the expectations to something really simple by using analogies. But that analogy that you used was, I don't want to say bad, but I don't really understand what you were trying to say with that. So it is really just useless. Okay. So next, the Deputy Prime Minister. Okay, so for the Deputy Prime Minister, I can tell that you are reading a script, okay? I don't mind that. In fact, I really I really encourage people who uh, write scripts for debate because some of you guys are beginners. So that is a really good way to start. However, when you start reading, you need to have your intonation should not be in a monotone, okay? You read with just one intonation and it was really dull. So the points that you were trying to say to me sound less interesting than the rest. Okay. But I tried to focus on your points and your points were good. You really tried to rebut because you were the deputy prime minister and you did give out your own points. But the way that you conveyed your speech, the way that you conveyed your message, it was really dull. It did not have any like flair. You did not interact with the audience and such. Okay. Next, about the deputy leader of opposition. Okay, so the deputy leader of opposition, I would really like to compliment. He did a really great job, a great job. He gave the analogy, he made the signpost and all. However, I would like to remind you that your role is as a deputy leader of opposition. You are not the whip, okay? Because based on what you said, it is more of a whip, a third speaker position, okay? Because the first, you gave out your rebuttals, which is good. And then you stated that you want to reinforce your previous speaker's points, okay? So I don't believe that you should do that. You should just go straight into your own points. For the reinforcements, you should leave it to your third speaker, okay? And when you gave out your own points, you actually, I don't know if you realize this, but you actually just like rebut it again. So in a sense that you did not give out your own points. So in your speech, you just gave your rebuttals and you just gave reinforcements. You did not give out your own points. So that is something you should fix on. Next is the government whip. So the government whip, just like the rest, more organized. Don't just skip from one rebuttals to another rebuttals. But you did give out your signpost, which is good. However, you need to be more relaxed, okay? Because I can see that you are really like nervous. So you tend to stutter a lot. So just try to relax. take a deep breath and just try to organize your points. Okay. And I also want to clarify the roles of a whip. The whip should not give out any new points. The whip should give out rebuttals and also should reinforce the previous points. Okay, but should never give out their own points. A whip. The last one is the opposition whip. Okay, so the opposition whip did a fantastic job because, as I stated in the beginning of my feedback, is that I wanted to hear the passion versus talents, the power to choose who should it be upon. Okay, it is really good that you have clarified on these things. However, it is a shame that it came from you and not from your previous speakers. Okay, because when it came from you, the weightage is not really that strong because the other teams, the other side, cannot rebut on this. So the conversation can't go any longer. So it should have been stated by your previous speakers. Okay, but it is good that you chose to speak up about this. Okay, you were really good, but I just wanted to say on the technical difficulties, okay? Because when you were speaking, it was really good. Okay, I was really attracted to what you were saying, but you had mic problems. Okay, you really had mic problems. The whole team had mic problems. So in the next round, you should definitely fix on that, so that I can get a clear image of what you are trying to say. Okay, so your feedback is just on the technical part. Okay, fix your mic. That's all. Okay. But I have finished with the feedback, and I just wanted to congratulate all you guys, all of you. And it is really impressive that both sides tried to give out their own POIs. I was really impressed because most beginners are afraid to give out POIs. So I can see that almost each person, when they speak, someone would give POI. Okay, and that is really, really good. And for POIs, you should take note that you should at least accept one. Okay, you should at least accept one from each side. Don't just ignore it like that, because POIs, when you don't have anything to speak, because I can see that most of you finished before your time limit. Okay, before your time. So when you have nothing else to say, before you end, ask the opposing team, do you have any POIs for me? So that you can extend your time and you can extend your points. Okay, so you can do that later in the next rounds. Okay, so with that said, I would state the decision. So for this motion, this house as an educational institution would choose what course the students go into. I would give the win to the opposition side, Team MEDCY. Congratulations. Okay, and the best speaker I would give to Brother Haziq, the opposition whip. So congratulations to Brother Haziq and to the MEDCY, the opposition side, and good luck for the next rounds tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brother Talha, one thing.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me first of all? My first speaker, he's kind of new, so can you like repeat the signpost thing to him again? He doesn't
Oh,
understand
the
it.
signpost things. Okay, so the signpost things is just like your introduction. Okay, so when, let's say you are writing an assignment, okay, you have your at the top before you start your assignment, you write something like introduction and then blah 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 blah, and then you have body blah blah blah, and then you have conclusion blah blah blah. The top part, the one that you bold and underline, that is called signpost. Okay, so when you say these signposts, I can know what you are trying to say. I can like take a glimpse of what you are trying to say. Let's say one of your points about lack of interest. Okay, let's say lack of interest. So I am going to demonstrate. So enough with the rebuttals. Let's move on with my own points, which is under the key phrase of lack of interest. So what do we know of lack of interest? Lack of interest is blah, 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 blah. Okay. just something to grab the attention of the one that is hearing your speech so that they won't stride off. That is what a signpost is. Okay? And when you have your signpost, you can also be more organized. You can see what you are actually trying to convey. Because at the end of your points, when you have finished your points, you should always go back to your signpost and link it and close it as a whole. Don't just leave it open. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Tadidaya?
Brother,
Yes, yes.
may I ask for feedback for my reply speech? Because it was really last minute. So yeah, I didn't
Or
think it was
reply
good.
speech?
Hmm.
Reply speech memang last minute.
No, I mean like I wasn't ready to talk at all. I was going to the toilet.
Okay, so a reply speech. Okay, because I am usually the first speaker and I usually do the reply speech. So a reply speech, basically, just say what they said was wrong, what we said was right, and then state what they said, and then state what we said. Okay, and in your reply speech, you can also include all of the rebuttals. Okay, the government side stated this and this and this. However, we rebutted this. Therefore, their point is no longer valid. And in the end, they have no points at all because we have rebutted all of their points. Like that. You say what they said was wrong, what we said was right, and then why we should win, and what are the clashes. So clashes is basically things that you both state but you don't agree on. Let's say they state that the power to choose. Okay, the power to choose is your clash. So they state that the power to choose should be on the schools, but we said that the power of the power to choose should be on the students. So that is a clash. In the end, who wins? Like that. So just keep it simple because it is 4 minutes. In your reply speech, there is no POI. You cannot give any POI, and you cannot bring out any new points. Okay, just state what we state and what we rebutted and what they state. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thank you very much, our judge, the most honorable brother Talha. Congratulations to all debaters and thank you to our judge. So I think this has come to the end of our session. I would like to wish I would like to congrats MEDCY and also to our engineers for doing their very best. And inshallah, that concludes our debate for tonight. So I will hope to see you. I will hope we will continue the next session at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So hoping that you guys will come a bit early and hope to see you guys soon. Sorry for all of the lacking. Sorry for everything. And I wish you a very good night. Inshallah. Let's take a picture. Let's take a picture.
Come on. I want
Boleh,
face to look good, bro.
Let's go.
Where's your face?
Alah, muka hilang.
Brother Talha.
Where's your face?
Aduh,
Bro.
are we still on YouTube?
Yeah, we're famous.
Hey, wait. We are live. Are we
Yes, Haziq. You didn't know this whole time.
Putra's fault. Putra's
Semua salah
fault.
Putra. Semua salah Putra. Malam ni aku pergi bilik dia.
He was next to me.
Okay. So, here's to a better future. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, freestyle.
Clarinet.
Everyone. 1.
Oh.
Aziz, come on. Okay.
Aziz. Hmm.
Okay, boleh. Gitu.
2. Wait.
My face. No. I'm the one with the plan.
Sama.
For today. Thank you, MEDCY. Thank you, engineer. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you for everyone who's watching. That's why I'm live. Okay. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Wish. Whoa. All right. Good night, guys. I
Good
need to
night.
sleep. I got 5 assignments. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, engineers. Thank you, MEDCY.